do that throughout the day. Who is the person that you are shaped by that moment? Again, an atheist could practice this. A Christian can practice this. What seems to be needed is some sort of an interior on-off switch to tone down the inner talking as well. And that is the relationship of centering prayer to contemplative prayer. What goes on in those silent depths during the time of centering prayer is no one's business, not even your own. It is between your innermost being and God. That place where, as St. Augustine once said, God is closer to your soul than you are yourself. It is an interior rearrangement and an interior awakening. I'm going to ask you to think of a word right now that in your moments when you are feeling a connection to God, however small, however large it may be, what's a name you have for God? Or what's a word that evokes for you the Spirit of God? So it could be God, it could be Father, it could be Mother, it could be peace, it could be love, it could be forgiveness, whatever word that is for you. And that word is going to be your symbol of assent to God's presence, which is there anyway. All we're doing is taking down our walls. And so let that be your word. And in a minute, I'm going to ask you to find a comfortable position. Feet on the ground is always, for some reason, uncomfortable. Not necessarily comfortable. I mean, for me, laying on the floor is always the most comfortable. But in meditation, that's what we use is feet on the ground. Make sure your head, neck, and trunk are aligned. Make sure you're diaphragmatic breathing. Blah, 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 blah. But it works. Because if you're in a good posture, what are you doing? You're stacking your vertebrae. And if you have back issues, if you're relying on your vertebrae to support you, then your back muscles aren't doing the work. And so you can sit longer. If you slouch and your back muscles are holding you up, it's going to drive you nuts after just a few moments. So settle in with the sense of the sacred word in your mind, and then just repeat that slowly over and over again. If you need to, envision that word, and then as thoughts arrive, which they will, that's the job of your mind, is to think. And it's not bad, it's just not the time. Let the mind be your advisor rather than your controller. Then gently pull yourself back to that word. And then at the end of the prayer period, remain in silence. Let go of that word and remain in silence. So as you can see, it's a lot like what we did last week. As you remember, we started in silence, and we'll do that again. And then I said, now let the prayer rise up within you. And then I probably asked you to release the prayer and sit in silence. And so let us find a position. I'm not going to go all dojo on you and ask you to sit a particular way, but a way that you can feel comfortable sitting in for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Think of a word, a sacred word that is important to you, not a word that you think should be important to you. And then sit with your eyes closed. Check your breathing. Do check the diaphragmatic breath. What it's going to do is it's it's going to slow down your system, put it on scientifically. It's going to calm you. And then a focus on that sacred word. And then maybe about a minute before I invite you to become aware of the surroundings again, I'll ask you to release that word and see how does it work for you to just sit in silence. And so begin to withdraw your senses into your being and close your eyes and introduce that word into your mind. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to become aware of your surroundings and to open your eyes. But one more minute. Now let us just release that sacred word and sit in complete silence. And now maintaining a sense of the peace that you've created for yourself with God's help. The gift of being able to focus to the extent that you are, to breathe the way you can. Let's each set an intent to bring that peace into this room as we open our eyes. And as we go out into this church and then into the world in which we live.